Well, good morning. Good morning. And thank you, Joyful Noise, for opening us. We look forward to hearing your music this morning. It's always so uplifting. So, welcome everyone to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I welcome all of those who are here with us and those of you who are joining online, either live or at some time in the future. You're welcome here. My name is Jim Grove. I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the center, and I welcome you with Namaste. Namaste is ancient Sanskrit, and it stands for the divinity in me recognizes and greets the divinity in each and every one of you. So today we have quite a special service. We have a guest speaker because our Reverend Teresa is taking a well-deserved break today. And that speaker is our own Ron Frost. So yes, we are delighted to have him with us this morning. He's spoken before. He's a wonderful speaker extraordinaire. He's an author. He has also one of our spiritual practitioners, and he has just recently, this past year, completed a trek across country by bicycle. And we're going to hear about his adventures this morning. And his title is Living Your Dreams. And that is so appropriate with our annual theme, which is Reaching Higher, Growing Deeper, and this month's theme, which is Stretching into Possibilities. And what better stretch into possibilities than living your dreams, right? So let's begin with some prayer. So just go within and know with me that this one power, this one source, this one presence is loving. And its one desire is to express as us, to express as creation. And that each one of us, being an individualized aspect of this creative power and this creative source, has that same ability. And that this source desires to create through us. It desires to motivate us to live our dreams because that is what it desires through us. I am so grateful for this, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity this morning to explore that aspect of our creative nature, of planning and thinking about and actually dreaming and living those dreams. In gratitude, I release my word now and know that this service unfolds in all its divine perfection, and so it is. And now, Joyful Noise, take it away.
I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, peace spread over the land. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed. Green was easy and the rivers ran clear. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed. Peace spread over the land. And the flowers bloom in the desert. The air was fresh and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose. The way was easy and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose. Way was easy and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose. Peace spread over the land. And the guardian stars are shining. Night was bright and clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang. Sound was easy and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang. Sound was easy and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang. Peace spread over the land. And the ancient pain is forgotten. My father's debts are clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came. Soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came. Peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came.
Wow. I got to settle down after that. Joyful noise. Oh my God. So my name is Hector Muniz. I'm going to be doing the reading this morning. The reading is called Choosing Possibility. Is this? Okay. We as human beings, spiritual beings, are bestowed with the gift of free will. Sometimes free will is a beautiful gift, and sometimes free will can be overwhelming. The possibilities can be endless. What should I do? How shall I do it? It takes courage to find calmness in the chaos, and that we might find ourselves swept up in. Sometimes, as students of New Thought, we find ourselves at the crossroads of choosing possibilities. Our old thinking is trying to hold ground versus our new thoughts with some different ideas and, of course, choices that we may have not considered all that long ago. When faced with a decision-making situation, we sometimes go down a rabbit hole searching for answers. So let's ask ourselves, what else is possible? Ask, what other possibilities exist beyond the obvious? What else is possible by inviting new, fresh ideas and perspectives? By asking what else is possible, we are actively seeking new ideas and options that might not have been apparent before. Challenging assumptions encourages you to step back and examine your current beliefs, questioning if there might be a better way to approach the situation. Focus on potential. Instead of dwelling on limitations, it shifts your focus to what could be possible. An empowering tool is asking what else is possible can give you a sense of agency, action, and ability to create change in your life. As we access this sense of wonderment and curiosity, we tap into this amazing world of unlimited potential that's just been below the surface all this time. We tap into an awareness that gives us multiple choices, multiple possibilities. What a gift. How empowering that is. An infinite set of possibilities. Choice is the beginning of all creation. Every time we choose, something shows up in our lives because of our choice. There's just choice and possibility. So I've got some quotes for you. The world of choice is where all possibilities become a place that you can create from. When you choose, you open the door to possibilities. When you choose possibility, you open the door to greater, to more, to something that you can deliver for you in ways you never thought or received before. That was said by Gary Douglas from Access Consciousness. Next one. When you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. That was said by Thomas Edison. All right. Become a possibilitarian. I practiced that word. No matter how dark things seem to be or actually are, raise your sights and see possibilities. Always see them, for they're always there. Norman Vincent Peale. That's some heavy hitters in here, huh? If I were to wish for anything, I should wish not for wealth and power, but for the passionate sense of the potential, for the eye which, ever young and ardent, sees the possible. Pleasure disappoints, possibility never. And what wine is so sparkling, what so intoxicating as possibility? Probably never heard of this guy. His name is Soren Kierkegaard, and he was, have you? You guys are awesome. Soren Kierkegaard, he was like 18th century Danish philosopher. Yeah, I ran the gamut with these. Last one. Start by doing what is necessary, then do what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Francis of Assisi. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. My name is Diana Wyatt, and I'm singing with these lovely folks up here, also known as Joyful Noise today. And if I can share with you real quickly, this song that I'm doing right here kind of goes in line with a few things today, and I want to share with you that there's always unlimited possibility. And this song was submitted to Empower Music 2 weeks ago for competition. And I'm happy to share that with you and enjoy your energy behind it, pushing it through with me as well, and allowing it to flow wherever it needs to flow on this planet. This song is all about growth. The uncomfortable places, the funny places, the hard places, the good places, the spiritual places. Every space and every time is perfect. In this perfect space and time, I don't know yet what I need. A tiny clear egg hanging from a milkweed leaf. Here in this holy now, I'm trusting life somehow. I have all I ever need right here inside of me. In this perfect space and time, as a caterpillar now I climb, devouring leaves and stems, eating poison for my wings. I may not be ready yet, soon I shall forget. And when I lose my head, I'll upload new thought in its stead. In this perfect space and time, I cannot see my way to find. It's dark and I'm afraid. I could have run, I chose to stay. And I'm not sure yet how to be, but something knows in me, hanging silently in dreams of how flying soon shall be. In this perfect space and time, here I hang for my wings to dry. It's scary, yes indeed, but hey, have you seen these new wings? In the center of me I am, this holy, holy now. Pump my wings with all my might. Be my witness, I'm about to take flight. In this perfect space and time, I don't know yet what I need. For now I trust the flowers. I float above the trees. Oh look, a tiny clear egg's hanging from the milkweed leaf. Transformation is eternal.
Oh, one more time for joyful noise. And the fact that you wrote that song and it's about a butterfly just kind of reminded me of a story that I wasn't going to share today, but it's a butterfly story. So thank you so much. If it comes out, you'll know. You all know because I just said it. So grateful to be here. I want you to take just for a moment and just kind of deeply relax and just feel a moment in your time when maybe just everything was going perfectly right. You were imbued with joy, excitement, love. It was as if you were in the flow and every synchronistic moment was happening absolutely perfectly. You were with the best of friends, or maybe you were out in nature. Or maybe it was you were a kid and you were playing and running down the street, flying kites or riding bikes. This is the experience or the state of beingness that when you're living your dream or living that authentic self purpose or whatever you want to call it, passion, your greatest joy, your highest excitement, we have 10,000 words for this. And it doesn't have to be defined by a career. Can be, but can it just be a way of being? And so the definition of the dream is really up to you. And so I'm going to basically share my story, but I'm going to share these 7 principles that I felt were refined as I went across country. And they're really about, number 1, it's your dream. It's really what's up. That's defined by you. Number 2, you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need to seek approval. Number 3, and this is a big one, you're already ready. Which leads me to number 4. Move. Nothing really happens until action, right? Take that one small step towards your dream, whatever that is. Open up to trust. Trust is the next principle. Trust, when we can be in the trusting of the universe, trusting of knowing that there's a divine sense of me that's greater than myself, and my own little beingness, that probably knows the way when I don't. And so be open to the guidance. Trust and open to the guidance kind of goes hand in hand. And then the one I threw in there, which I feel is really the pinnacle of them all, is just stay in a high vibe state regardless of whatever happens. Whether there is rain or whether there is something like a flat tire, which I had a few of those, just know that enjoy that moment too. Just know that it's all good. And the last, which I think is the most defining thing, is be the journey. It's all about the journey, not the destination. We're trained and conditioned in life to be destination seekers. We have SMART goals. We have things that are like dead lines. Think of that word, dead lines, right? Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Because it's happening through you in every single moment. And so the more that you can be in the joy of the journey, it doesn't really matter. I had so many people that were asking me, like, where are you ending up? Where are you going? Where are you, what's the end point? I said, I'm going west. And they'd be like, can you be specific? I said, yeah, the Pacific. That's as specific as I could be. So it's part of just knowing that, as you point in the right direction of your dreams, desires, and goals, the universe will help take you there. For every step you take, there's a synchronistic thing that's happening to kind of encourage you, as well as create that pathway of flow for you. So in the very first thing was the knowing that it's your dream. As I started sharing this and started talking to people, it's not everybody's dream. And that second thing, you're not always going to get support from everybody. I got a lot of support from this community. There are people that were liking my Facebook posts, and they were sharing them, and they were commenting on them. And I would wake up in the morning, like in my tent, and I would see these things, and I'd be like, that would give me the fuel for the day. So I really expressed gratitude because that encouragement really, really helped me to know that there was other people out there like engaged with the process of me riding across the country. But the whole thing about living your dream and knowing that you don't necessarily need approval from others. There are people that the friends that didn't. There was one friend of mine that said, Ron, you're 63 years old and it's an old Schwinn bicycle. It's 30 years old. You got to get a new bike. And are you ready? Like, he was like really nervous for me. And sometimes our friends and our family are like, they double question everything you think of. But know that you don't necessarily need approval. Some will, some won't. It's really about your dream. And the whole concept of being ready, I didn't really train, I'll be honest. I did one of these overnighters, test the gear, I found a campground, I rode to it, set up my tent, and then I was like, didn't really put in the hours of training. And matter of fact, I had some health issues that were going on, and I was kind of in my mind thinking like, oh, I don't know if should I put this off, type of thing. Should I put this off? And as I started riding, I actually started getting better. So as you move forward, you become conditioned. Your legs get stronger. When you're sitting on a little saddle too, your butt starts to get acclimated to it too. So I mean, it's one of those things that as you move forward, then you start to become healthier. You start to become stronger. You start to have that stronger vision in your mind. And actually, I want to call out Dr. Harvey Kalsis. I did an interview with you probably a whole year before this event, and I did a podcast. He was on my podcast, and I asked you a question about what is the number one secret to health, and vitality. And he said a sense of purpose, a dream, a passion, something that's inside of him. Because the thing that you said was most of your patients, it wasn't that they didn't get sick, they just healed faster because there was something driving inside of them. So for that sake, even for our own health and well-being, having a passion, having an interest, having something that moves us forward, and you're always ready. Even when you don't think you are, you're always ready. And then to step into it, to move. Any movement in the direction of our dream, our desires, or our goals is a good movement. There's no bad movement. You become refined as you move along. And we don't necessarily know the best way. Our higher self does. But the fact is until we start to move, that's when everything happens. I started my journey in Washington, D.C. Why Washington, D.C.? Well, I looked at a couple of different bike routes across the United States. One was the Trans-American route, which is a famous route, probably one of the oldest routes. There was another one called the Great American Rail Trail. It was a company that had, or a nonprofit agency that went to all the resources of old rail tracks that were being pulled up and decided to make bicycle trails. And actually, I raised some money out along the way to actually help send it to them afterwards because I feel the project that they're doing, who wouldn't want more bike trails? Bike trails, hiking trails, through cities, through areas that you just couldn't normally ride bikes. And we have a wonderful one here. And so that's the Legacy Trail. And so they're behind this entire activity. Well, they created this thing called the Great American Rail Trail, which is to get from Washington, D.C. all the way out to Washington State, yet it's in pieces. It's not finished. And I kind of knew that, but I figured, why not do this anyways? Because I'd rather be on trails more than in traffic. And then so I started on the C&O Trail, which was in Washington, D.C. I broke my chain the first day. But I had the links, and I was able to fix it. And it was amazing how many people stopped to ask for help, can I help you? And I got that continuously the whole trip. And then I got to my campground. I had not slept on the train all the way up because I put my bike on a train in Winter Haven, Florida, got to the train station in Washington, D.C., rode around the mall for a while, broke the chain, got a little bit lost. I wasn't following my GPS. And then I finally got to the point where the first campground on the C&O Canal Trail was, and I was just so tired. So I didn't really make big headway the first day, but I moved. And that's what was good. And the campgrounds in the C&O Trail, they were free. They're primitive campgrounds, porta potties, but they're free. And they were first come, first served, and I would see other cyclists and other hikers there, and it was great. And as I got onto the Gap Trail, the Great Allegheny Passage, which once you get into Pennsylvania takes you all the way to Pittsburgh, and then there's other trails beyond that. Now that actually had a lot of camping opportunities as well. The realization, though, is as I got to Ohio, things changed a little bit, and I was trying to figure out where do I camp. I was going to Parks and Recs Department and police stations, and actually one police officer took me to the park. He said, you just follow me. I have to lock the gate like by, I forget when it was, like 6 or 7 o'clock, and I'm going to lock you in. so nobody can bother you. So not only did I get permission to camp in a park, but I got my own private park. So you have to ask. That's part of the exploration. I didn't necessarily know where I was going to stay. I couldn't plan that far ahead. But everything always worked out. There was one time I was coming through these trees. It was on the Ohio Erie Trail, and I was coming through these trees, and it was starting to get dark, and I always had this affirmation that I'll have perfect accommodations by nightfall. I started saying the affirmation louder, because it wasn't happening. I know I'm going to have perfect accommodations. So anyways, what happened was I came out, and there was a father and son playing baseball, and so I asked them if they knew about any campground. He was nice enough to say I could camp in his backyard, but he knew of actually it was a cyclist campground that was off this trail, and it wasn't that far away. And then he met me there later with food. His family owns a restaurant in town. So he brought these bags of food, and him and his son sat down with me, and we talked for a while. So just these wonderful opportunities as things go on. So part of that is just trusting and knowing that sometimes it's going to change. Sometimes it's going to change. Even when you're totally in the unknown. And this is where the butterfly comes in. I was actually on one trail, and I forget the trail, but at the end of each trail, when it ends, you got to take regular roads to go get to that next trail. And so I would put these things, these data points in my phone, because I was using an app that was allowing me to GPS. So as soon as I just ride the trail with no GPS, why would I need it? I get to the end of the trail and then go to my phone, and there was no cell signal. And I like, oh, this is interesting. Like, it's like I'm walking around, and it was a left and a right, a left and a right. And like, there's a 50-50 chance of making a right decision, or a 50-50 chance of making a wrong decision, right? But if you think as a possibilitarian, you know there's really no wrong decision. There's just movement, right? So what happened at that point was the strangest thing was there was this little yellow butterfly who flew. I don't know where he came from, but he flew. It was like he was flying right towards my third eye, like flying right towards my head, and then does this circle around my head, which I thought was strange, and started like dancing in the direction to the left. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Butterfly? Or Miss Butterfly? Is that the way? And then it was like, it repeated the pattern. What does that tell you? I decided to ride to the left, and then the butterfly actually kind of kept with me for a little while. Eventually, I got to a point where my phone kicked in, and I was going the right way. The universe is conscious. It's with you all the time. And the moment that we see these clues and recognize them. So the rerouting, I got to a point where I ended up taking this Great American Rail Trail, less campgrounds, there was one difficult moment where I just kind of like had to find a place, and there was like the neighborhood dogs already sniffed me out, and they're like, I don't know if I could camp here. I moved a little bit more. So finally, I got up and I said, I got to figure out a better way. I had found on an app it's called Warm Showers. It's like couch surfing. You familiar with couch surfing? It was an app called Couch Surfing. This is for cyclists. It's cyclists supporting cyclists. They're hosting them in their homes. And so I reached out to a few people along the way, and I reached out to this lovely couple, Bill and Cassie, who had done a cross-country trip together years before. And they have a farm just outside of Kokomo, Indiana, and I ended up staying with them for the evening. And it was just fun to listen to their stories. And they said, how do you feel about the Great American Rail Trail? I said, there's not a lot of camping. And then as he shared his adventure with this other trail, which is the Trans-American Trail, which has been made by the Adventure Cycling Association, one of the oldest trails, there was always camping. There was always, and he actually showed me the app with the maps on it, and I zoomed in on the app and said, what are those green things? He goes, those are campgrounds. What are those red things? Those are grocery stores. What are those, like, you know what? Oh, those are bike shops. Like, everything was mapped out. I'm like, wow, this is a cyclist's dream. I downloaded the app, we figured, okay, for me to get from A to B and also ride this, the Katy Trail, which I wanted to ride the Katy Trail, I figured like this is a diversion. I had to take a hard left. I had to kind of not really backtrack, but go a little different. I know I was adding days to my entire journey, but it's a long journey, so why not? And then I figured I had to get some of these people to the Warm Showers app, campgrounds, and find out how many points I could make it to there. And I have a friend that I worked for 30 years ago, and I called him up, same phone number, and he actually invited me to stay at his house, and he was like 70 miles from where I was starting. So I stayed with him, I stayed with some other people, and it was absolutely fantastic. So it all works out, and realize that as you go in the direction of your dreams, desires, and goals, you may not necessarily have to fixate on that endpoint. It may change. How many of us are doing the same thing we did when we were first set off into the working world, right? One. But the thing is it's being open to that change. See, insistence creates resistance. The more that we insist on things that we have to be a certain way, the more we become fixated and it's got to be this way or not, the more that we can create resistance to the very thing that's flowing through us and flowing through the essence of the universe that supports our dream. Just know what it is that you're excited for. And when they shared this story with me, I was super excited, and so then got up early the next morning, and I made a beeline, and I hit all those spots. I stayed at different people's places. I got to the Katy Trail, rode the Katy Trail out, and then I ended up getting onto Trans-American Trail. And as I got to a certain point in the Trans-American Trail, I was halfway through Kansas, I did this trip when I made a decision. A lot of people asked me, are you going to ride solo, or are you going to ride with a group? And I said, I really want to ride solo. It would be nice. I tried to ask a few friends, like, would you like to do this with me? And everybody was like, yeah, but the excuses came out. Yeah. And then, so finally I'm halfway across the country, and everything is going good, and I'm in the middle of Kansas, and there's like cornfields, it's hot, I'm tired, I'm riding down the shoulder of a highway, and I hear this voice, are you going west? And I'm like, God? Why are you out of breath? And it was another cyclist who had just caught up to me, and he saw my bags, and I was seeing a lot of people going east, but I wasn't seeing anybody going west. And so he caught up to me, and his name was Nate, and because of the traffic, we said, let's find a place to sit down and eat, and we discussed this because we thought, wouldn't that be great? He was having some, struggles with some things where he wanted to quit. He said, twice I was ready to quit. And no, we can do this. And he was also what I call a bicycle genius. He had the high-tech bike. I had this old 30-year-old Schwinn. I mean, literally, everywhere I was going, everybody had these modern machines. It's like going to a Tesla party with a 1973 Ford Pinto. It's like you don't really fit in. You don't really fit in. And I would constantly get I'm not the average age of the cyclist, and I've got an older bike, and I constantly get these you're going across country with that? You? And then when I get to New Mexico, California, it's like, yeah, you went across the country with something like that. That's pretty cool. So the fact is, you've got to be able to be open to this. And I was open to the fact that my journey changed at that moment. I had another individual, and we were supporting each other. And there were times where he was really gifted in the area of bikes, and he also I was using my cell phone and an app, and sometimes I would shut the app off. I just kind of knew, the general direction. I would look at the map, and I said, that's good enough. I even had paper maps. He has this high-tech computer, and he knows the elevation, he knows the wind direction, and I'm like, that's too much. And he would be like, I don't want to scare you. I'm like, eventually, when we crossed the Rockies, see, the thing about being ready, you can't train in flat Florida for the Rockies. But by the time you get there, you're ready. And the way I look at it is, for every mountain you climb, you eventually get to the top. So it didn't really matter to me whether or not the elevation, and there was these areas that they would go orange and then they go red. And then he would tell me that we're going into a red. I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I got a lower gear. And the lowest gear is getting off and pushing. And there are times when you have to do that. But for every up, there's a down. And so there's always a down. And the fact is, most cyclists realize this. There's two things that cause resistance. There's climbing hills and there's wind. The basic difference, and you've got the ability to shift and adjust to that. The nice thing about climbing a hill is eventually you get to the top and you can coast down the other side. There's the vista, there's that moment of excitement. The wind is this aggravating thing that just doesn't seem to have some sort of climax to it. It's just there. And in our life, we got those things where we achieve something and we feel great about it. And then there's that other times when there's maybe this annoyance that's going on like the wind, and yet we don't necessarily see the purpose in it. And that's true with so many things in our life. The more that we follow our dream, the more that we get through it, the more that we understand that sometimes those things make us stronger, don't they? So it's being able to embody that and know that that's going for you, not against you. The other principle is being able to be, to move, to get going in your direction, but being able to be self-aware of that it's the time that you're spending in that activity of your dream, whatever it might be, whatever it might be. And it's being consciously aware of the distractions in the world. I had to make the decision that I had to get away from screen time and live my dream time. We know the screens in our life, TV screens, laptop screens, cell phone screens. The more that you can live in your dream time and less in the screen time. The things that are going on in the outer world, I don't have as much control over. I can be focused on the woes of the world, or I can be focused on the wow within my dream. And Ernest Holmes has a famous quote that the practitioner that's in prayer turns away 180 degrees away from the problem and anchors in the new truth. They need to have their consciousness in their new truth. It's much like Tony Robbins' quote, which is, energy goes where attention flows. Right? So the same thing is like being able to detach from the screen time, detach from those things, and being able to focus. We're vibrational beings. The more we raise our vibration in the consciousness of love, of joy, of living our dream, the more that we're having this intrinsic effect, because we're all divinely connected to the divine matrix of humanity. And the more that we can do that, the more that we can shift consciousness. This has been proven through the Maharishi effect. Lynn McTaggart has done this in the attention experiment. We've seen many of these things. Heart math is heavily involved in this. Even in the 100th monkey effect, if you look at that, the more that we reach critical mass by everybody living their joy, living their dream, living their purpose, whatever that might be, as an artist, as a musician, as a person that's maybe into solar energy or gardening or whatever it is, writing, or being a coach, or being just a good listener and a good friend. These are all innately whatever calls us, whatever calls us. So the biggest thing I found in this entire trip was that everything always worked out. Everything always worked out. I always had the support. I always ran across the most interesting characters. I remember one morning getting up really early. I was on the Katy Trail and it was like still dark, and I'm riding with my light, and I see a light coming through the trail, coming through the woods, and it's like higher up on somebody's head, and it was a runner. His name was Jack, and he was running across the country. And I left that situation like, at least I can coast. There's times when I can I got the wind at my back. It's like, so whatever your dream, live for that moment, live in the possibility, live knowing that it's more about the journey. It's more about the journey. And we may never reach the exact destination that we want, but if we're in that joy of the journey, what does it matter? I'll leave you with one last story. And it was funny because when I got to the Santa Monica Pier, so that was the final destination. The specific became the Pacific at the Santa Monica Pier. And both Nate and I made it there, and it was fun, it was joyful. And we did this thing called the tire dip. He was there, one of his friends was there. It's like, you got to do the tire dip. And of course, the pier is up here, the sand is down there. I got to bring my bike down. I had all my bags on my bike. And as I get to the Pacific, get to the ocean, this huge wave comes up and drenches like half of me, comes into my wheels and my derailleurs. And anyways, I ended up, and it was cold water. It was refreshing, but I did my tire dip. So now all I gotta do is I'm getting ready to fly out the next day, and I gotta go to my hotel, which was in El Segundo, which was 10 miles away. And I didn't realize as I started moving with all this sand that I cut, my derailleur froze, my back derailleur froze, and I was stuck in probably one of my most challenging gears. But it doesn't matter. I'm 10 miles and it's over. Pack up the bike, get ready to fly home the next day. As I went down, and it went along the beach. It was a beautiful boardwalk. Reverend Emil knows it's a beautiful boardwalk, and you got cyclists and roller skaters there, and people walking their dogs, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And here I am, like, this doesn't matter if I'm in this tough gear, because it's like, I'm going to make it, right? And then I turned to look to my hotel, which was in El Segundo, and it's like this mile-long hill. And I'm like, oh, how do I do this? And I was like contemplating, do I get off my bike and do I walk it? Do I just walk it? I mean, there's no shame in walking your bike, right? Or do I just stand up on my pedals and just crank as hard as I can and get as much momentum? I decided to do that because I figured it's my one last try. So I got going, and as it turned out, it's like it's breathing heavier and heavier. Kept looking down because I didn't want to look up, because the more I looked up, the more intimidated I got. Like, that seems to be getting farther and farther away. And as I got to like halfway point, it was like, I couldn't breathe. It was like you have that burning feeling like in your lungs. And I get to the crest, to the top of the hill, and this guy half my age in a skinny little tire bike with like a racing bike goes by me and goes, wow, I'm impressed. And I wanted to say thank you, but no words came out. I couldn't breathe. I went 3,500 miles for some sort of affirmation from a stranger, and I'm like, whoa, that feels good. So whatever it is, live your dream, whatever that intention is. It doesn't have to be simple, it doesn't have to be grand. It's calling you. It's really calling you. It's within you. It's the song of your heart. And the more that you know that and connect with that, just know that the principles will always work with you. The principles that we teach here. Know that it's your dream. Know that you don't have to have anybody else's approval. And the fact that as soon as you step into it, you'll find your way. You're already ready. And the more that you move, and the more that you open up to trust, and the more that you stay in that high vibe state, even during those low vibe moments, and be the journey. Be the journey. And that destination becomes you. And it is your not only gift to yourself, it's probably the greatest gift that you can give to the world. Thank you.
Ron Frost.
This next song is a perfect tribute to Ron's, the challenge that he faced and the success that he had. But Tim McGraw wrote it not for a cyclist, but for a free climber who ended up setting a world record for free climbing. I mean, like, straight up. But it could be any one of us that this song is about. Whatever the challenge, whatever the dream, don't ever give up. Don't give up. I think Ron's story really left us with that message. So this is for all of you, but you too, Ron. Look what you've overcome to get here. Look at the distance you've run. The doubts that you pushed down. The fear that you drowned out when they said that it couldn't be done. in your head, in your heart, your hands, in your head, in your heart, your hands, in your head, in your heart, your hands. Gravity's a fragile thing. All of the words that you left in your heart, all of the dreams you've unlocked, now you can finally see them. They meet you at your destination now that you've made it so far. In your head, in your heart, your hands, in your head, in your heart, your hands, in your head, in your heart, your hands. Gravity is a fragile thing. It don't define you. Gravity will lie to you, lie to you. Tell them to never let go. There's a beautiful valley below. When you hold on so tightly to the dream, gravity is just a fragile thing.
Joyful noise. And let's give them another round of applause. We have been so blessed and uplifted by the music today, and especially by the inspiring message from Ron Frost. Thank you so much. I know that we all feel spiritually fed this morning, and now it's time to give back to our source of our spiritual nourishment, which is our own Center for Spiritual Living, Cultural Coast. And it's the time for our offering. So those of you watching from home, you'll see information at the bottom of your screen about how you can contribute at this time as well. So if you would get out your offering, if you do it online, put your hand over your heart and just bless it as you share it this morning as the baskets come around. And just know with me that my gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Bobby?
Thank you, Jim, and let's sing together. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good, pass it on. I receive
receive the gift of life, pass it on. I receive the gift of love, pass it on. I receive the gift of joy, pass it on. I receive all good, pass it on.
Thank you so much for your gifts. And now we have some announcements for you, and Lisa Lassard would like to start them. So, Lisa?
Good morning. Okay, so I'm here to tell you about tomorrow at Andres and my house. We're having the Einstein's Quantum Riddle. Okay, so I know I have a lot of you that have already signed up. I'm over the limit, but I'm going to make it work, so we're good. Okay. And possibilities, exactly. And if there's other people that would like to do it, let me know. Maybe we'll do it again. I'm not sure. So don't, let me know, okay? So it's tomorrow at 6:30. I will be texting everybody, giving you the address and everything like that. Let's see, all about parking and stuff. Remember, bring whatever you would like to drink. We'll supply the popcorn. Also, if there's other ideas, if you guys have other ideas to do this, we're going to be watching this documentary and talking about it. Watching it, it's not even an hour, and then we talk about it. We did this last year with The Secrets of the Octopus. Okay, so, things like that. So if you have other ideas, let me know, okay, so we can expand this a little more. And I think that's it. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Lisa. And that's just one opportunity that we have for being in community here at the center. We have many others, and if you'd like to find out more about those opportunities, number one, you can sign up for our newsletter if you're not already on it, and you can do that on our Facebook page or at our website, which is CSLCulturalCoast.org. And also there's information over on the table to my left. Also, we have sacred service possibilities. And if you're interested in helping out with our hospitality team, please see Eileen afterwards. And Eileen, are you out here where you could raise your hand? Oh, over there. At the hospitality table, nonetheless. So please see Eileen. And also we have an opportunity for sacred service on February 10th, which is painting Second Heart Homes, it looks like. Diana, do people see you about that? So see Diana if you're interested in helping out with that. Do you want to say a little something about what that is?
Actually, the people that have signed up, we're good.
Oh, you're good.
So just support us by sending us all your good energy and knowing that the day is going to flow perfectly.
Great. Thank you. Let's see, and also another opportunity for participation is that I facilitate a spiritual living circle every Wednesday night online by Zoom. And if you're interested in joining that group, please see me afterwards, or you can get more information in the newsletter or on our Facebook page. So please participate if that interests you. We discuss an article from the Science of Mind magazine every month, or every week, I should say. And then we have ongoing classes, as Teresa says here, ongoing classes, ongoing, and more. So if you want more information about what's going on here at the center, please refer to the newsletter. I am the practitioner of the day for prayer. If you would like to meet with me one-on-one after the service, I will be over by the screen here to my left, and we can meet for a few minutes to know your spiritual truth. And if you would like to leave a prayer request in the box there, just know that all of our spiritual practitioners will know your truth for this coming week. You can also submit prayer requests through email at prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. Please stay after for coffee and conversation. And if you are new with us this morning, please see one of our greeters. They have a gift for you for attending first time this morning. All right, I think we're ready for our closing song.
All right, thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for an uplifting day. Here's one called Amazingly Awesome. Something amazingly awesome is happening and gonna happen. 2, 3, 4. Something amazing,
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
something amazing,
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
I'll sing my little mantra, gonna get it in my head. Today is the party, gonna
Sleep on out of bed,
I start my day in this way, knowing everything is okay. See the good in everything.
makes me wanna sing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
It's not out in the future, it's right before my eyes. The beauty, joy, and wonder, it's time I realize that every moment is a gift. All it takes is the slightest shift to see the good in everything. It'll make you wanna sing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome, gonna happen to me today.
How can I be open to it? Gratitude, gratitude. What if I'm not really feeling it? Gratitude, gratitude. I believe in the power of what I say will be. I finally learned the lesson that gratitude is the key. 2, 3, 4. Amazing, amazing.
It's all amazing, amazing, amazing. It's all amazing, amazing, amazing. It's all amazing, amazing, amazing. It's all amazing.
Something amazing,
Amazingly awesome,
gonna happen to me
today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
Something
Amazingly awesome,
gonna
happen to me today.
All right.
If you'd like to sign a card for Bishop Mary Ann Budd as a community with us, please sign it at the table. Thank you.